Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews Today. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 124. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, former minority leader hits hard at the presidency over its letter ordering the clerk to Parliament not to attempt to send the authenticated anti-gay bill to the president to sign. We have details as he says neither the president nor the Supreme Court can injunct Parliament of Ghana from undertaking its lawful duties. Also this afternoon, Education Ministry promises to fix the acute shortage of food at various senior high schools cited in JoyNews' expose, Empty Plates, the free SHS promise.
Again, assures parents, students, and the general public that we are running a system, fraught with human interest. So even when they are challenging in this, the assurance is that we will go and solve.
Plus, National Peace Council cautions political parties and media against hate speech as it begins engagement to ensure a peaceful election 2024. We'll be bringing you details of all of that shortly. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We're also live on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, also known as X, JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is @Denana Aisha. Please do stay for details. Majority MPs on the Health Committee are taking on former President John Mahama for describing the Agenda 111 project as unrealistic and overly ambitious. In a discussion with the clergy in Accra, the NDC flag bearer expressed skepticism over the feasibility of the government's Agenda 111 project. Chairman of the Health Committee, Dr. Nana Ayu, says John Mahama must leave such politicking to foot soldiers.
Of which he described the Agenda 111 project of government as over-ambitious and unrealistic. There are times that the minority, often than not, has made politics with Agenda 111. But we have taken it as politics as usual. We did not expect the list from the former president to join in the chorus of attacking Agenda 111. So if you call this as over-ambitious, if you call this as unrealistic, then it is a sheer attack on the manifesto of the NDC. That the NDC's manifesto was over-ambitious, unrealistic, full of lies and deceit. Because if you say what you mean, and you mean what you say, you don't forget it at any point in time. Your boys in your party would go and make politics out of it, but you, the leader, you don't go that route because of the manifesto. And if you see, we in the majority have always had this, and we said we'll allow the NDC minority to make their politics. But we would wait for the day that the leader would speak on this issue and we'll come at him. So, if you said you were going to do 88 hospitals, and MPP said was going to be 111, then what made this unrealistic and overambitious? The former president has been disingenuous. He has been inconsistent. Just saying things, just going away. We've passed that stage. We should be a bit scientific. We should mean what we say. And if you are not able to do it, doesn't mean when your opponent does it, it means it's not good for the country. We should go past this sort of politicking.
But the NDC MPs have been hitting back. Ranking member on the Health Committee, Kwabena Mensah Kando, says all the documents presented by government itself to the committee shows the project is not feasible.
Ladies and gentlemen, the presidency is not a joke. And therefore, as a president, when you speak, you must be as close as possible to the truth or the facts. We are all human beings. A certain margin of error is allowed. The president said that he tracked 111 hospitals, hence the name Agenda 111. Not 80 hospitals, not 40 hospitals. That he is going to construct the facts available to the committee support the fact that they cannot construct 111 hospitals before 2025. Number one, the whole project is estimated at 1.7 billion Ghana cedis. Take note of the figures. As at the last time the Agenda 111 Secretariat appeared before the committee, they had distributed or disbursed 251 million out of the 1.7 billion. So even the Agenda 111 Secretariat are complaining they are not getting source of funding. What they are saying is that they can finish 30% of the project in 2027 when His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo will not be the President of Ghana. They will finish the rest of the 30% after 2027. So why will a president go and give a promise that I will deliver 111 hospitals before 2025 and it is estimated to be completed after 2027? Isn't it overly ambitious? Sure. I mean, what has he said that is different from what they themselves have put on paper for us? So if you know, and I've told you that the presidency is not a joke, before you come out to do something, you must do the feasibility studies, especially when you don't have a reliable, dedicated sources of funding. So if you know you complete, let's say 40 or 20, what prevents you from telling us that this is what I'm going to do? Exactly. Why will you come and deceive the people of this country? As I speak to you now, we don't have a reliable or dedicated sources of funding for that project. So let us not shape the goalposts. Nobody should go and set his own questions and attempt to answer them. Let's lower the bar. Let us be within the context. What is President Mahama saying? President Mahama is saying that it is overly ambitious and unrealistic. What are they saying per this document? It is overly ambitious and unrealistic. Finito.
Well, it's been 6 days since undersea internet cables were cut, plunging this entire country into an internet blackout. For 6 days on, the country is still yet to fully recover. NDC MP for Ningo Prampram and Deputy Ranking Member on the Communications Committee, Samuel George, says the difficulty currently being faced by the country is due to poor regulatory oversight by the National Communications Authority. Following the blackout, only 80 was not affected because it had adequate redundancy, something MTN and Telecel do not have. More from Sam George shortly. But Communications Minister Eslo says to forestall a future occurrence, the NCA is working to license satellite internet service providers to reduce the country's reliance on undersea internet cables.
The initial remote investigations by all affected cable providers have given them the approximate locations where the cables have been damaged. To commence the repairs, these cable providers need permits from the authorities in Côte d'Ivoire and or Senegal. Their vessels will then be assigned to retrieve the necessary spares required for the repair work before sailing to the fault location to conduct the physical repair work. The affected section of the submarine cable will have to be pulled up from the seabed onto the ship where the repair vessel, where it will be spliced by skilled technicians to complete the repair. It will then be tested for any defects, and which will be fixed and then lowered back to the seabed. This process, I'm told, might take between 1 and 2 weeks for the actual repairs, while it will take about 2 to 3 weeks of transit time for the vessel to pick up the spares and then travel from Europe to West Africa once the vessel is mobilized. And that is why the NCA indicated that it will take a minimum period of about 5 weeks for full services to be restored. With regard to the use of satellites as an alternative, it is important to note that the bandwidth of a satellite backup for network operators cannot replace the capacity that has been lost due to the outage. Satellite backup for consumers is more feasible. However, the cost is relatively much higher than the terrestrial solutions. Immediate initiatives that the government will undertake is that we will license satellite gateway earth stations, London rights, and satellite earth station networks. OneWeb has already been licensed. Starlink is in the process of being licensed, and other operators are being encouraged to land in Ghana. We must also invest in operationalizing RASCOM, the Regional African Satellite Company, instead of each country going it alone.
But according to Sam George, all other countries which face the challenge have all significantly recovered except Ghana because of what he describes as poor oversight by the NCA.
Mr. Speaker, I hold the view that we are where we are simply because the regulator that works under the minister failed to do their job. The responsibility rests with the regulator. This is not about another country and force majeure. A regulator doing its job would have put in place the mechanisms and the redundancies that would have allowed us to be prepared for this instance. Mr. Speaker, the cut happened off the coast of Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire was the most impacted country on Thursday. As we speak today, Côte d'Ivoire's recovery is ahead of Ghana, simply because their regulator had put in place the right mechanisms. In the case of Haiti, and if you ask what Côte d'Ivoire is doing, they're using MOVE, the MOVE operator cable. They've immediately allowed all the other operators to piggyback on MOVE. When you speak about the success of Haiti, Haiti is simply able to carry traffic because they have redundancy using the Nigerian link.
Let's stick with Parliament because former Minority Leader and MP for Tamale South, Haruna Iddrisu, is this afternoon cheering into the Presidency for its letter seeking to stop the clerk to Parliament from sending the authenticated anti-gay bill to the President for his assent. Efforts by the clerk to Parliament to transmit the bill passed by the House weeks ago to the President but was rejected by the Presidency. The former Minority Leader says the Executive Secretary to the President has no business writing that letter to the Clerk of Parliament to stop him from performing his lawful duties.
I'm unable to sleep. And I'm unable to sleep because this is a monumental threat to Ghana's democracy and a monumental threat to Parliament as an institution. By Article 93, we are clothed with legislative authority and legislative mandate. This letter only reflects President Nana Addo Dankwa's quest of predominance over other organs of state. That is unacceptable, and that must be fought by all persons who love democracy and who cherish the principles and values of the 1992 Constitution. The framers of our Constitution endowed Ghana with separation of powers, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, division of powers. It endowed us that Parliament shall be responsible for lawmaking. President Nana Addo Dankwa, first of all, politically, what power does the President Secretary have writing to the Clerk of Parliament, and not the President himself writing directly to the Speaker of Parliament, as is required of our standing order, so that officially this can be read as communication from the President? So ideally, this paper means nothing and should be ignored by the clerk, because communication to Parliament must be communication signed by the President, addressed to the Speaker of Parliament, as is required of our standing orders, whether old or new.
Iddrisu also says Parliament cannot be injuncted from performing its duties. The Presidency says the President is unable to consider the bill because of two suits filed at the Supreme Court, but Haruna Iddrisu says that explanation is untenable.
Yes, there is a matter before court, but I'm also a trained lawyer. An attempt to seek an injunction is not the same thing as an injunction. An attempt. I'm seeking an injunction does not operate the same way as an injunction have been so granted by the court, even if it is an interlocutory injunction. But more importantly, Parliament cannot be enjoined not to perform its lawful function as the legislature of Ghana, clothed under Article 93, responsible for legislation. No organ of state. Subject to the Constitution. The judiciary is subject to the Constitution. The executive subject to the Constitution. The legislature subject to the Constitution. So it's for good reason that all of them, the Constitution says, subject to this Constitution. The legislative authority is vested in the Parliament of Ghana. Now, somebody should help me with the 1992 Constitution and open Article 106. Then 2, the President cannot, by any shred or shadow of authority, seek to injunct Parliament from exercising our lawful duty and responsibility as the House responsible for lawmaking. Neither the courts can enjoin Parliament not to perform our duties as Parliament. The courts, under Article 2 of the Constitution, can declare a nullity or a void to the extent that Parliament have passed a law which is inconsistent with the Constitution.
Meanwhile, private legal practitioner Kweku Pencil says it's a fair stance that the president has taken, given the fact that there are 2 suits at the Supreme Court. Listen.
I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm talking about political sense. If the president does or take the steps that he has taken to await the Supreme Court, because eventually, once the matter before the Supreme Court has to make a decision one way or the other. And what the Supreme Court says would eventually and inevitably determine the course of that piece of legislation before all of us. So personally, I find nothing wrong in that position that the president has taken. I noticed that a lot of the problems that people have with the position that the president has taken is the fact that he has not been consistent in upholding that kind of position. In other words, there have been times in the past that bills had been passed and being challenged in the Supreme Court, that the president, in his wisdom and constitutional power and authority, has gone ahead and assented to it. So that's the kind of thing that people are now looking at. But please, for the sake of principled positions and so forth and so on, at the end of the day, if other people believe that this piece of legislation ought to have a look by the Supreme Court, I think the president acts wisely by at least allowing the Supreme Court to give his decision. That, of course, does not take away the power and the authority of the president to assent to it, regardless of what the Supreme Court says. And I do not find much credit in even the excuse that they are trying to find. I just want to put it this way. It's a politically convenient excuse for the president to give to everybody the fact that because the matter is before the Supreme Court, we may as well await the Supreme Court decision. But for practical purposes, it is not an inevitable position that the president is entitled to hold. He's got the power, he's got the authority to assent to it. But either way, if he has taken that position, I will consider it as fair.
Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante has joined us with more from Parliament. Kweku Asante, how has the minority crossed this hurdle? What do they intend to do to actually change this? Hello, Kweku Asante. All right, we'll try and get Kweku Asante back. Kweku Asante, can you unmute for me? All right, I think I can hear you. Go ahead, Kweku Asante.
The point is that Haruna Iddrisu and his colleagues in the minority are making the point that they do not believe that the president has the power in the manner he is seeking to perform it. First, they say that the presidency cannot seek to injunct Parliament from doing its work. As far as they are concerned, the clerk to Parliament should ignore that letter that came from the president asking it not to come to the executive again to try and lay that specific bill that has been passed. And they are also concerned that the president may be breaching his oath of office. The constitutionality of the acts of this president has been called into question in this. They are stopping short of saying specifically whether they will be going to court in the coming days. But Haruna Iddrisu is emphatic that they are going to raise this issue when the Speaker of Parliament himself, Alban Bagben, is in the chair within the week. The point they have been at pains to make is that the Speaker of Parliament and the Parliament of Ghana has conducted its business in a way that is lawful, that is constitutional. And as far as they are concerned, the presidency is acting in excess of his powers, and they are clearly not going to allow that to stand. They are going to fight that every step of the way. They believe that the president is seeking to interfere within the work of Parliament. That is not acceptable to them.
What else is happening in Parliament, Asante?
Well, the Electoral Commission officials have been in Parliament. I've just seen Jim Mensah and officials come in today. We understand you're going to brief MPs on preparation ahead of the election. Over the past few weeks, the Electoral Commission has published a timetable for the 2024 election. And so the Electoral Commission, we understand, will get into a committee of the whole with MPs to try and thrash out some of these issues. Last week also, Haruna Iddrisu raised concerns about the...
All right, Asante is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. He's been updating us on what is happening in Parliament. Key is the argument over whether the president has the mandate or the right to warn the clerks of Parliament not to submit the anti-LGBTQ bill for his assent. Let's get on to other stories. We'll bring you more from Parliament in our subsequent bulletins. Now, the National Peace Council has cautioned political parties, representatives, and media practitioners to be mindful of their utterances going into the December 7 general election. The Peace Council is raising concerns about the use of insults and tribal statements to score political points. In the heat up to campaigning for the parliamentary and presidential elections, the council warns parties, representatives and supporters, as well as the media, to desist from using words that can put the peace of the country under threat. Well, I've been joined by Nana Boakye-Yiadom, who's been following this for us. Nana Boakye-Yiadom, how does the Peace Council intend to help the country achieve this?
Well, the Peace Council today is putting up measures to help the country attain 100% peace in the upcoming election. Has been meeting political party representatives from the MPP to the NDC to the CPP to the PPP. Each representative was at the workshop today, which is to build up and to also sensitize them on the use of hate speech going into the crucial December 7th parliamentary and presidential election. Well, the sensitization and the workshop is to ensure that in the heat up to the election, as they proceed to campaign, political parties would desist from using words that would cause chaos, and also to help media practitioners deliver or bring out reports that would not build up to any form of chaos in the country. Looking at previous elections or using previous elections as a case study, the National Peace Council intends to educate political party representatives, their supporters and media practitioners in the use of hate speech, and also in their reports to make sure that there is nothing like chaos that would come up in the 2024 general election.
What kind of engagement have they had with the political parties?
Well, as of today, the meeting was between every party representative. You share your concerns with the National Peace Council, with the EC representative also there at the meeting. Well, you put up with your concerns, and then the EC representative would also address them in any way whatsoever. The police representative was also at the meeting today, alongside some other representatives from the military. And so you can say that clearly from the number of people there, it is a meeting that is to listen to the concerns of each political party and also find ways of addressing them. So clearly, it is to address the concerns by each political party representative or each political party itself, whereas the Peace Council will put up measures and also speak to stakeholders on ways to address them.
Right, Nana Boakye-Yiadom is our man monitoring this for us. Now, the Director General of the National Road Safety Authority, Engineer David Osafo-Adontin, says Plans are far advanced to introduce an initiative dubbed Passenger Manifest, which aims at keeping records of every Ghanaian passenger in all the commercial transports. The move is expected to help identify victims in the event of any accident. The move comes days after the fatal accident that killed 21 people. Mr. Adontin has also been advocating for the dual carriage, which he says is the key to averting the road accidents.
Currently, we started a pilot a couple of months ago, last year, and we are still doing it. If you go to Kaneshi Station, the New Plant Station, and some of the terminals, you get there, and then we ask you of your name, where you're coming from, where you're going, and then you give us the contact, your personal contact, and then the contact of any person you think we should call, in case there should be a crash. In fact, in the beginning it was very tough, because you know Ghanaians, as if they do not want to hear a crash at all. But it is something that could happen anyway. I think people are beginning to understand and appreciate. So now they are giving us the figures, they are giving us the data. We are compiling the data. The good thing is that we are doing it electronically. So once you give us the information freely and openly, we gather them into an electronic data. And as you move along, we also monitor the movement. Currently, we have installed what we call trackers in most of the commercial vehicles. VIP, VVIP, Metro Mass, Ayalo, all those ones are now, in the next couple of months, will install the devices. What it means is that even as you are on board, we are monitoring your movement in real time, from your origin to your destination. What we are trying to do is that we want to protect human life as best as possible. So we'll be monitoring the driver's behavior and then monitoring the way he's driving in real time, so that we try to prevent something before it happens. Now, the advocacy, you know how far it's taken us. Now, government has taken it upon itself to dualize between Osino, somewhere around Osino, there's a bypass, and Sini, and then Konongo. Works have already started, and if you go there, you can see it in real time that dualization is gradually catching up the entire Accra-Kumasi corridor. There is also some dualization that have started on the Aflao stretch, another one on the Winuba Road.
The Kotokrom Yahima Road in Sunyani is receiving attention to the delight of residents. One side of the over 5-kilometer double-lane road is being sealed by the contractor after agitations and demonstrations. The MCE has assured residents of working to get other roads in the municipality fixed to improve the standard of living in the communities. Precious Semevo has more.
One of the much talked about roads in Sunyani in the Bono region is the Kotokrom Yahima Road. For over a decade, residents and other road users have complained and demonstrated over the deplorable road and the impact of the dust on their health and business, as most businesses remain closed.
Your customers cram. You right inside or crab say, when you na young futuro, am I yet me bet no Juman Bay? Yes, yeah, Juma cry a penny Ryan Kaibase, or Jumano ma, any until setting be our ba.
Now the 5-kilometer double-lane road is at seal level with ongoing works, first with one lane to ease the burden of the people. Dominic, a 3-year site engineer of Summers Company Limited, assures quality and timely work.
It's rocky up to Yahima barrier. Now it's about 5 kilometers. Now we have finished the primary, so we are now doing the seal. The seal up to now we have finished the 2.4 kilometers. So by Wednesday we finish the 5-kilometer seal work. Then we move to the other side and prepare for the primary seal. We have enough material. Bitumen is here, the bitumen, the chippers, everything is set now. So that one I can give assurance by Wednesday we may finish the other side, which is the sea level. For now, per the contracts, sea level is the final.
The MCE Ensu Kumi, just like the MP Kwesiami Acheme, feels relieved with the improvement of the situation, having suffered constant verbal abuse.
This issue has become a major concern not only to the Assembly, but to the Member of Parliament as well, Honorable Kwesiami Acheme. I quite remember there had been a series of requests from him for documents to follow it up in Accra, and just to get this road fixed. For some of us, it has become a major relief to us now that we have seen the contractor doing the seal. And I'm sure you are here, and you heard the sort of insults that were poured on us, the kind of castigations that were made. And to some extent, we say they were justified because we were not able to do it at that time.
He, however, said steps have been taken to also fix other roads in Sunyani.
The Ministry of Education has pledged to resolve the acute food shortage in various SHS in various senior high schools. It follows JoyNews' latest documentary on the free SHS food shortage, the empty plates, the free SHS promised. Here are excerpts of that documentary.
Online platform I had infiltrated, I discovered numerous complaints from school heads about weevil-infested maize bags supplied, despite assurances from the free SHS coordinator that only a few bags were affected. My observations revealed several bags of maize being treated with neem tree leaves to ward off the pests. Given the critical food shortages, some school heads have conveyed to me their inability to discuss the contaminated maize as there's scarcely enough to feed the students.
If you look at here, I want you to take, I want you to take a view. This is maize infested. It was highly infested. So someone advised us that we can use the neem tree. So yesterday we put it outside. The boys put it outside, and these were given to be fed to the children. Yes, free SHS. And so, they are there a lot. So I'm experimenting. So yesterday we spread it on the ground. We put the neem tree upon it, and we are seeing some reduction, and that's what. That is this the work of headmasters.
Well, the Education Ministry has pledged to resolve all the issues. Of course, there's also a dialogue, a national dialogue, coming up on Joy News on Thursday. Let's take a break on Joy News Today. When we return, there is more.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Now, the European Union Ghana Agriculture Program, EUGAP, has honored women groups as part of this year's celebration of International Women's Day at Dapoha, a suburb of Wa in the Upper West region. The event reflected EUGAP's commitment to invest and accelerate the progress of women in agriculture. Here's more in this report.
First year I've used the planter. I was happy. Waste pains, the kind of, what will I say, the way I used to become tired in the farm. I used only 1 hour, 30 minutes to plant my soya beans.
Emilia Nimbibir is one of many beneficiaries of the European Union Ghana Agricultural Program, EUGAP, in the Upper West region of Ghana.
But instead of hiring labor, for the past years I used to take about 5 to 10 women into the farm before they can plant an acre for a day. But for now, I can plant about 3-4 acres a day.
The use of agric technology, such as handheld planters, has helped reduce labor in planting and improve crop yield. The women farmers are leveraging agricultural technology and innovation to improve their activities. At a ceremony to mark this year's International Women's Day, organized by the German Agency for International Cooperation, GIZ, in Wa, Municipal Agricultural Development Officer Bernadette Knapp emphasized the need to invest in women to harness the full potential of the agri sector.
Women form the backbone of agriculture in many parts of the world, contributing significantly to food security, rural economics, and sustainable development. However, despite their crucial role, women often face numerous barriers, including limited access to resources, land ownership, education, and decision-making power. Yet,
representative of the Regional Coordinating Council, Rita Abisiwene Nyoka, asserted that the government will continue to invest in women in all aspects.
We stand united with our partners to further improve the narrative in the years ahead. We need to still invest in the woman.
Matthias Bethold of the Program Coordinating Unit of UGAP praised the women for their resilience and contribution to the agri sector. He called for more support for them.
Acknowledge that women still face significant barriers in accessing and controlling valuable agricultural resources like land. This not only hampers their own progress, but also undermines the productivity of our communities.
The ceremony saw the presentation of citations to various women farming groups and individuals who are making a great impact when it comes to agriculture. Now, Imperial General Assurance, a leading general business insurance company in Ghana, has launched the Imperial Collision Insurance, an innovative mobility insurance product on the Ghanaian market. According to the Deputy Director of the company, Haruna Iddrisu, this product covers own damage, hospitalization, and financial interest in vehicles. Now, he spoke to Joy Business at the Imperial General Assurance head office in Accra.
Imperial General Assurance, leading provider, has unveiled an industry-first collision insurance product in a significant step towards ensuring greater financial security for drivers in the country. Speaking at the launch, Deputy Director of Imperial General Assurance, Haruna Iddrisu, says the move signifies the brand's commitment to offering exceptional service to drivers.
So generally, what collision insurance is that it's not a third-party cover. It's basically providing cover for individuals when their vehicles collide with objects or they collide with other vehicles. It has a third-party component in, and it also has an additional benefit, which is hospitalization. The hospitalization benefit is not arising out of accident, but it's as a result of the fact that when a person who has bought this collision insurance gets severely sick and is admitted to the hospital, that person after 3 days earns 100 cedis per day for up to 30 days. That is, for the 30 days, the person will earn up to 3,000 Ghana cedis. But the caveat here is that that person must, first and foremost, be severely sick and be admitted.
Imperial Collision Insurance directly addresses a critical gap in the market for car owners.
Generally, there is a movement from auto insurance into mobility insurance, and this is the first step into the mobility insurance. Choose a limit for yourself, so you come to Imperial General through your broker, your agent, or any other representative you may have, and then you tell the agent that you either want the double for your trouble package, which is basically giving you a 6,000 sum assured for your collision and also a 6,000 sum assured for your third party. Or you decide that you go for the big bang, which gives you a cover for 10,000 Ghana cedis for your collision and also a 6,000 cover for your third party.
Present at the unveiling of the new product were the Ghana Insurance Association, the Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana, and Insurance Institute of Ghana, among others.
All right, and that's it for the segment. Sports is up next.
Let's bring you sports here on JoyNews Today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Ghana will be playing Senegal later today in the semi-final of the ongoing Under-20 Cup of Nations in the African Games. Well, Ghana secured a ticket against Senegal in the semi-final by virtue of finishing first in Group A. Head coach of the team, Desmond Offer, says that the boys are ready to fly high the flag of the country.
We are looking ahead to the future.
with open arms, and whatever comes, we'll be ready. It's going to be a very difficult game on Tuesday against a very good side. For us, once again, a very tough opponent. Senegal's a very good team. They did really well last year in the AFCON, both under 17 and under 20. Went to the World Cup, represented the nation well. 1 lost and 2 draw. So Senegal is a very well-structured football nation. They are building something very significant, something very special. And for example, I think 2 of the players are playing the A national team, and one of their players that went with under 20s were sold to Chelsea for 20 million. So it shows that they're doing something really impressive. And basically, we are also trying to reignite what we are known for. We are also in a rebuild, and as for my players, they are very well rested, no injuries for now, and we are preparing really hard for the game. Semis, there's no luck in semis. For you to reach the semi-finals means that you have done something right. And we know Senegal. Senegal is a very good side. For us, I think we have to stay true to ourselves. What we did in the past games, we have to replicate, but also multiply. So it means that we have to be more intense, we have to be more tactically aware, we have to be sharp in the duels, take care of the ball more, and be very well organized. And that's what we stand for, but we just have to improve. And I think we're improving by game, but we have to stay focused and focused on the game at hand, and that's Senegal.
About a year ago, there were concerns about whether Ghana would be ready to host the rest of the continent in the African Games. Well, one person who served as the sports chair for the African Union, Sunday Dare, who is also the immediate past sports minister for Nigeria, says that the government of Ghana should be commended for their commitment to organizing the Games, because it was near impossible if anyone had said Ghana would be ready to host the rest of the continent.
I think we must commend the President of Ghana. We must commend the Minister of Youth and Sports, Malam Yusuf of Ghana, because when you look back and you see that 10 months ago, it was almost impossible that this would take place. And Ghana requested for 8 months extra to be able to put everything in place. And we have seen what they have done. We have seen a brand new stadium at the university where we are right now. We have seen a brand new games village. You have seen on display the absolute commitment of the government of Ghana and the one-rose effort of the minister and his team. I have been to the venues, and I think that this is commendable. I was the chairman of the African Union too last year, when we had to take the decision to ensure that Ghana was given the 8 months it required to be able to prepare. I'm happy that in 8 months, Ghana has been able to pull this together. It's a pride for Africa that 54 countries are gathered there, 29 sports, and 7 different venues for the All-African Games, the 13th edition.
That's your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com.
Time now for Showbiz. Big Chef on Sunday saw 12 contestants work in pairs of 2 in the kitchen to wow the judges with their recipes. For the week's challenge, the contestants were tasked with preparing any type of salad with ingredients of their choice. After chefing it up in the kitchen, Emerald and Nade, they beamed with joy as they emerged star chefs of the day. Here is what you missed.
Today, your task is to prepare a salad. You have to prepare a salad from any ingredients. You have no limitations. You have 20 minutes to plan a salad, shop for your ingredients, and execute your production. Good luck.
Remember, the fact that you are in pairs doesn't mean you are cooking for 2 people. I hope she's not crying. She okay?
Onions.
Onion. Oh, okay, that's fine. 2 minutes to go. Just 2 minutes.
2 minutes to go. 4, 3, 2.
This is the salad. This is the salad. Fast.
1. Stop work.
Stop work now.
Stop work. So what name did you give your salad?
Salad in school.
Huh? Salad in school. In school. were you trying to just, like she said, there's no inspiration about this one. You only just decided to cook. Let's cook.
I told the boy we should do it. The boy decided not.
You told who?
The boy told the boy.
You told the boy?
Yes.
Very, very poor. It looks like you just threw the things on the plate. The plate itself is really dirty. Your food is not arranged properly, and tomatoes everywhere. It's not even cut in like the same shapes and sizes. You think this competition is a joke?
First, I asked Emma, she said that she was chosen somebody, and it was only left with her, so I had to join her.
But now Day and Emerald,
all right,
they communicated very well, and I think they were the only people who were not having any misunderstandings. Right. So I'll give it up to Nadede and Emerald.
Okay, a round of applause for them.
Wrap up showbiz. That's how we wrap up the bulletin also this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.